This is Anime Ricochet. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff, and with me, as always, is a man who is tall, and that might help him with swimming. His name is Jacoby, aka Coby. Welcome to the show, Coby.
Thank you. Usually that was an okay introduction, I guess, for my ability to swim. But I can swim though, and I am tall, so I guess thank you for that.
You can swim, and you are tall, and I am not tall, and I can't swim. I'm going to say I cannot swim. I almost drowned a couple years ago, I think. No, it was last summer. Oh, it was last week.
I
think you were there.
You know?
You think you might have been there. I was like dog paddling from boulder to boulder at Lake Tahoe.
I was watching from afar and just like, haha, look, he's having so much fun out there.
Yeah, and I barely made it.
Having fun at all out there.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, this is Anime Ricochet, the sports... Well, okay.
You
haven't done this in a while.
You did recommend the other guest.
Oh, I will. Here. Don't you worry about it. Dude, I've got a plan for this.
All okay, right? You got a plan.
Listen. Just trust me. We've been doing this for how many episodes now? Maybe more than 10 at least?
At least. Like
you gotta
20.
Trust. All right, so if you don't know, this is Anime Ricochet, the podcast where two dudes who know nothing about sports talk about sports anime. But on this podcast, on this episode in particular, we have a special guest with us, a third dude who may or may not know anything about sports anime or sports. He comes from the land of anime podcasting himself, where they talk about trash anime, or whether or not it's trash. It's called Anime Dumpster Dive. His name is DJ.
They're so bad.
That was a really bad introduction.
Bad. I'm DJ. I know a lot about swimming. That's the sport we're talking about today.
That is, you are correct.
I've been a swim instructor for like 7 years. I've been coaching high-level competitive swimming for about 3 years now.
Oh.
So.
Wow, we got a real get on this episode, don't we?
So that's why I was gung ho on you guys. I was like, give me a swimming anime.
Yeah. So this is in fact a swimming anime. We already did one before. It was called Free. And DJ, have you seen Free?
No, but I got some stuff to say about Free.
Oh, you haven't seen Free?
I have not.
That's the funniest way to lead off a conversation. I haven't seen it, but I have so much to say about it.
Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to say about it.
There is some things that anime gets glaringly wrong. It's just incredible that they would have such oversight in that situation. I don't get it.
Man, we should have had you on for that episode, because I was just like, I guess this is what swimming is.
Oh, I'll tear it up, dude.
I remember not liking it. I think, Coby, you liked it more than I did. I think you loved it, actually. You gave it a 5 out of 5. It was your favorite.
I don't think
anime.
I said that much. I said I enjoyed it, and it was soapy fun.
Yeah.
I mean, a big one is, he only swims freestyle? Are you kidding me? There's a point where this other kid's like, hey, will you swim my relay? And he's like, I can't swim your relay. I only swim freestyle. Get off of my pool deck then, if you can't swim for any other stroke. All right? Get out of here.
Does that really trigger your coaching attitude?
I mean, it's ridiculous. First of all, that attitude that he's got. Second of all, every swimmer has to be legal and competent in all 4 strokes. It's just you get times in every event eventually in your career of swimming. Like, nobody just swims one. Maybe you can get away with not swimming one and like swimming the other 3, right? There's 4 strokes, right? Sure. Only swimming one, get out of here. Maniac. Nobody does that.
I'm loving this so far, because all of what you're saying is kind of going over my head. I don't know anything about swimming. Coby, how do you feel about swimming and professional swimming in general?
I don't know anything about it. All I knew was based on Free, but now everything I know was basically a lie, it seems like. So now I'm glad DJ is here to set the ship straight.
Yeah, DJ is here to set us straight in terms of swimming knowledge. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you see it, the sports anime that we have to discuss is the least sports anime we've had on the show, I think it is fair to say. Probably even less sports anime than that one with the girls and the butts. And,
Keijo. That was a legitimate sports anime.
Yeah, that was a legitimate sports anime. It was a bit crazy, bit of a fictional sport, but this one is more of a slice of life. But there are some swimming elements in it.
Lots of slices of life in this one.
Yes, lots of slices of life.
I found myself a lot of the time going, get to the swimming!
Yeah, like they kept
I wanted some swimming.
They kept saying, oh, the tournament's coming up. It's like, oh, okay, the tournament's coming up. But it takes like 4 or 5 episodes to get to the tournament. I was like, you just said it was coming up, like, soon.
So let's get into the discussion. DJ, we'll guide you, we'll ease you into this discussion, into this little format we have going on. So the show in question we're talking about is Kenko Zenrake Suibu Umisho, which translated, apparently, is Healthy All-Nude Swim Team Sea Cats Commerce High. And that's...
I noticed the translations very strange in this one, including the opening.
The song was very... Okay, I guess let's just throw this out here. This is one of those animes, very erotic, lots and lots and lots of fan service.
It's not like a pure ecchi, but it's like almost there.
It's like just enough.
It's this isn't High School DxD, but it's like implied High School DxD. It's like
with a lot of covers for everything, a lot of hands over
chest. It's a couple steps down.
Censorships, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a couple steps down from your usual ecchi.
Yeah,
it's still there.
It's a show filled with a bunch of degenerate perverts, essentially, both male and female, and it just so happens to involve a swimming team. So, yeah, that's the show we're talking about today. It's an anime based off a manga of the same name, written and illustrated by Mitsuru Hattori, serialized in Kodansha's Weekly Shonen magazine from 2005 to 2008. It was adapted into an anime by Koichiro Satomi and written by Mamiko Ikeda, which premiered in Japan on July 2007. And looking at
old ass anime,
it's fairly old. It looks old. It feels old. And the studio that made the anime is called Artland. And basically every single person who worked on all the names I listed, even the anime studio, I looked into the work that they did. Generally, when we do this, we can kind of recognize one or two shows the studio or the artist or director has done, and I couldn't recognize a single thing, which I think is appropriate. I guess it makes sense. This show in general to me felt pretty obscure. I've never heard of it before, never seen any references to it before. But I guess the people that have worked on this, the people who worked on this, I guess have worked on equally obscure things. Yeah, it's we were trying to stretch, because like we said, we've done free before. We're trying to find a good swimming anime, just so you could be on the show this DJ. So here we are. This is the anime you got. Do you think, DJ, this would be the kind of anime that would be on Anime Dumpster Dive?
No.
No? Okay.
Too many people like it. Reading the reviews and stuff like that, it's not the best anime, but people are like, oh, this one wasn't that great, but I enjoyed it. It was cute. This one wasn't that good, but it was cute on sometimes, or it was pretty boring, but it made me laugh every once in a while. Those aren't the ones we get over there.
Okay. Okay, good.
We get the ones where the reviews are like, "What is this? Why does this exist?" And then Jake's like, "Yeah,
good content." Well, that's good. When I initially saw this show, I was like, this could be perfect because I was getting some kind of trashy vibes from it. But apparently
it's got a little bit of that in it,
Yeah, but apparently it's not trashy enough, which is, I guess, good. But yeah, so let's just go into the characters. Let's talk about the characters. We already talked about how it's a perverted show about swimming and how it's more a slice of life. And as we discuss these characters, I think it's safe to say we could spend as much time as we want on this section in particular, because I don't really know how much we're going to be talking about the actual swimming, because there is not so much of it in here. But when we get there, hopefully there will be something to be said. But let's start with the main character. His name is Amuro Ninagawa. Actually, her name is Nanaro.
That's the girl.
That's the girl, Nanaro Ninagawa. And she is your
fish lady.
Yes,
mermaid.
She comes from a floating boat, and she's the transfer student from Okinawa to the school Umisho. And she is just a natural swimmer. Has lots of grace to her. She's very bubbly, and also she likes to swim in the nude. She's kind of like your alien chick, not really accustomed to living on the earthly plane. She will strip in front of people. She has no shame. She's all, very bubbly and bouncy and joyous all the time. And has a very childlike, whimsical nature about her. And
she's mystically propelled underwater.
Yes.
The same force I'm assuming the house is propelled by.
Indeed. So let's talk about
Aquaman.
that. The swimming style. Does she have a swimming style? Because when she's swimming, she is literally just like, I don't know, like a dolphin, I guess, not using her arms at all.
She just goes. There's not much. I mean, they could be animating her kicking. They don't animate much of the swimming in the show. I think that's one of the first like clues that it's not like really a sports anime. Like usually you get those beautiful like multiple, angle shots of like the sport happening and it's beautifully animated and stuff. This they just kind of animate it like the rest of the show. But yeah, she doesn't kick hard at all. She kind of just slides through the water like she's a jet of some sort.
Because if you grow up on a houseboat in the middle of the ocean for all your life, that's what you do, right? You learn how to propel yourself like Aquaman.
But here's the thing that's okay about it is it doesn't break my suspension of disbelief a little bit, or however you phrase that term. I'm the type of guy that's willing to let a lot of stuff go. And the way they explained her swimming style, they're like, she's weird. She's from a boat thing. I'm like, all right,
a houseboat.
That's all we need.
I'm like, okay, as long as I get something. It's not like she was just in the school and she swims like that, and the whole time I'm like, what is this girl? They're like, no, she's weird. She's got X's on her head, and she swims like a weirdo. And I'm like, all right, I'm in.
It fit with, I think, the tone of the show overall, and I think eventually all the characters, I was won over by a lot of these characters because they fit with the overall tone. Exactly what you said. It didn't break my continuity, my suspension of disbelief, because they're all weirdos. They're all quirky and different. They all each have their own little thing going on with maybe just like a hint of sad backstory that makes them a little bit relatable. But when they do these extraordinary things like glide through the water like Free Willy or something, then it doesn't take me out of it. I enjoyed it for what it was. So I think we usually knock sometimes like OP sports characters, like someone who comes in there automatically so good at it no matter what. But I think this one is kind of believable. I mean, if she grew up in the water for all of her life, that she could be this level of good in her swimming. So
OP sports characters happen, man. My freshman year of high school, there was this kid who'd never swam before. He was a German exchange student. Moved to America to go to high school and play basketball as part of an exchange program. His first meet ever, he jumped in the water for a 50 freestyle, almost broke the school record. His first year ever as a swimmer at regionals, the final meet of the year, he breaks the school record, which isn't that crazy fast of a record because we're a young school, right? But still, for some random German kid to show up and just break that record, I mean, he kind of was a perfect athlete, just a German guy, but I mean. Still, it's crazy.
It happens.
Yeah, so definitely this is a lighthearted show, and her magical swimming is not to be taken seriously, just like the rest of it. But just to clarify, DJ, her swimming style, is it grounded in reality at all? Can someone even swim like that fast, like not
There's
using
no
their
way.
arms?
There's no way she could swim that fast unless she was kicking way, way harder. And then, in that situation, the girls who are up on top of the water using their arms would always be faster than her. Once you lose the momentum of the start, your underwater is not as fast as an up on top of the water swim. So no, she would not win that way. It's also ridiculously illegal, the way she swims.
Yeah, which they actually point out in the show, I think, right?
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it's still it's really illegal. They point out that she does do some things wrong, but then later in meet she breaks the rules again. But it's not a problem because it fits okay. Freestyle is supposed to be the stroke where you can do anything you want, but there is rules to freestyle, and they're very hard to break, but she does break them. It's just it doesn't make me like the anime any less that she swims that way and would be breaking the rules because she's an alien person, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
Definitely fits,
right? It fits. So I'm not being a stickler, oh, that's not real life, because she's an alien person. So we're already there.
We're on a houseboat.
Yeah,
in the middle of the ocean.
Even with her super special swimming powers, she actually does not win every single race she's in for various reasons, but at least she's not kind of Mary Sue. I think that would be maybe the best description for it. Yeah, she's really good at swimming, but she's not perfect, which is
all her original times are slower than the purple hair girl. She swims a 50, like her freestyle is slower than the Purple Hood girl's freestyle.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to that. I was just paying attention to like the placing that they were doing. I wasn't even paying attention at the time.
I had no idea how, because they do the same thing in Free when like how they measure the scores. You know, they all touch the board and then they all touch and then it shows up on the screen what their times are.
All
It's like,
in
I don't
Japanese.
Yeah, and it happens way too quick, and I don't know any of their names to be like, what was that? Because they show it for like 2 fucking seconds, so I don't understand. So I just have to go off everybody's reaction. So I didn't know that.
I know that because the way later on how things play out, but also I think it's episode 8 is the tournament. It shows all their times before when they step up in that race where it's her, the blonde girl, and the purple hair girl. It shows their times,
Right.
or they're like entry times, but also it just later in the relay she doesn't swim the freestyle. So if she was faster, she would be swimming the freestyle in the relay, but she's not. So the purple hair girl is faster than her.
Okay. So what do you guys think of Amuro in general? She's sort of the focus of the show. Do you guys think that she's a good enough character to carry this show? Do you like her? Do you dislike her?
Out of all the main girls, I think she is one of the least interesting. I like a lot of the other ones much more. I wish they were a main girl instead of. I think Amuro works as like a side character, but as like the focal point for everything. I wasn't as interested in her.
She could not carry it herself. I mean, they do a really cool thing where they put her to the side a little bit every once in a while. Mm-hmm. I don't like it when they have like the ditzy like main protagonist girl and she's like cutesy and like it's funny to watch, but it's so overly her, you know. It happens a lot in like harem animes, right?
Right.
I like how they're like, this is her, and we're gonna use her to make some like funny jokes and stuff. But we're also gonna show you these characters too, and I like that because there's no way she could carry it by herself.
She's definitely one note. There isn't really much to her other than she loves to swim and she's happy all the time. And there are occasionally conflicts
every once in a while, right? Like she's funny, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she's not. She's definitely not a negative impact on the show. They like you said, they are able to spread out the time across all the characters to make it so that she's not overstaying her welcome. I think a lot of times in these animes, a character like her would generally annoy me, but I think that's mostly because, as you said, DJ, like they kind of spend too much time on them. But the fact that they do put her on the side makes her tolerable and even likable at times. And she does have her own somber moments throughout the show, which give her some more depth, which is good. So yeah, generally, I think she's pretty good. She's likable.
Yeah, I like the role that this type of character plays, which is sure she's peppy and she's kind of annoying individually, but like what her character represents is like a new breath of fresh air, a cheerful nature that kind of inspires everybody else to sort of
the heart of the team.
The heart of the team in
absolutely.
order to be better. And I always like that element of the team. Usually, I like it when that character isn't always the best, like isn't the best at what to do, because with Amuro, it's the best of both worlds. She's a really great swimmer, and she's also a positive influence on the team. I sometimes like to keep those things a little bit separate, but just for this element and for this anime, that sort of character worked, and I think Amuro worked more like in concept than just as an individual character. But overall, I liked her.
All right. The next character on the list is Kaname Okimura. He is the swimming team's manager. He's the other main character of the show. And even though he is the manager for the swim team, he himself does not know how to swim because as a child, he had an experience where he was out at sea and suddenly he was grabbed into the depths by a mermaid. So ever since then, he has been frightened of swimming since then. And he essentially serves as this kind of the self-insert male character that's kind of, generally boring, passive, generic, but for some reason all the girls like him. So yeah, that's who he is essentially in this show. He's also apparently a good swimming teacher, even though he doesn't get into the water himself. And
he's also dumb as a bag of rocks to not piece 2 and 2 together.
Yes, there's this mystery in the show of like, who was that? What was that mermaid that dragged him under the sea? And basically, from the first episode, you already know what it is, and it takes them the whole show to figure that out. But he's, I don't know, in my opinion, I guess you kind of need a character like this because everyone else in the show is very colorful and very. Some of them are even just downright obnoxious. So you kind of need like this kind of grounded person that's just like, yeah, the regular guy that everybody likes for some reason. And that is the purpose he serves in the show, and I guess he serves it well. There is also this sort of side plot between him and Amuro. It's like, oh, will they, won't they, kind of thing. But of course, you all know where that's gonna go. But yeah, what do you guys think of Kaname Okimura? Is there much to say about him at all?
No, he's your anime protagonist. Not much going on. He's just there to help you stand in a role to experience what's going on around him a little bit. Pretty cut and dry dude. He's got his little complex with the water, and that shows up every once in a while, which I kind of like that they play with that every once in a while. And he's teaching, the newer swimmers the ropes a little bit, and then once they get a little bit better, they go get and learn from the more senior swimmers.
Yeah, I liked the little quirk of it's like not getting in the water is the through line throughout like the whole episode. I wish they would have hit on it just like a little bit more at parts, instead of just like making it like it's either in a lot of episodes they don't mention it at all or they make it just like a joke, which works for the tone of the show. But to make me interested in him as a character, I needed more reasoning behind that and a better resolution to that plot, because as you mentioned, we know where that storyline is going from the first episode. It's not really a spoiler in terms of how the mermaid was that saved him. But I was thinking about this throughout. It's just like, does it make it better that, because we obviously know what's going to happen, is it better to watch him struggle to accept it, or would it have been better if he realized it right away?
If it was a constant thing, I would get annoyed with it. If it's like, I would be like, geez, dude, just get over it. Like, all these people are trying to help you swim, right? But I mean, they mention it so like rarely, especially once they get going in the show, that it kind of falls by the wayside until later.
Yeah,
so I'm okay with that.
At first, I thought that's what the whole show was going to be about. Actually, was him getting over his fear of water. But then very soon you realize that it's really not about any single character. It's really about the whole team as a whole, and I think that's a good thing for the show. I think if they did focus on just that whole arc of him getting over the swimming thing, yeah, you're right. I think that would probably overstay its welcome, especially over 13 episodes. I don't really know how you'd make that interesting for so long. So the fact that they kind of sprinkled in that plot point throughout and then, resolved it sort of right at the very end was wise of the show. And if he got over it right away in the first episode, then I guess then there would pretty much be no reason for him to be around, I would think.
Yeah, nothing for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of cut and dry, as DJ said. He's the most boring character. Yeah. Who's next?
So let's get into the more colorful cast. We will start with Momoko Orizuka. She's the purple-haired girl. She's the third-year student, and she's the vice captain of the swimming team. She is very much the serious type. She takes swimming very seriously, and she's always trying to get her swimming team to be the best that they can so that they can win in all these upcoming tournaments. And it's the tension in that is that this team is very dysfunctional. Pretty much every swim team practice, they're always goofing off and, just playing around in the water, hanging around. And Momoko is the one that's like, hey guys, we got to do stuff. And then they don't listen to her.
Can we swim, please? That's what we're here for.
They don't have a coach.
Yeah, they don't have a coach. They don't have an advisor. The only person
I
they
guess
have
is
in the
okay
leadership role is
in Japan,
Kaname.
but that shit doesn't fly here.
We've never seen that in a sports anime high school thing. There's always a coach and there's always an advisor. I don't think I can't remember the last one we saw that didn't have one of those.
I was weirded out with it until they mentioned it. They're like, "Oh, we can't do that because we don't have an advisor." Like, I was like, "Are they just never gonna bring this up that there's no coach?" And then like they did bring it up. So
much later. But Momoko herself, who takes on the role of the team, I didn't like her, and I was biased first off because I felt like it was just lazy, because I felt like she had almost the same design as Amuro, like just with purple hair instead of green hair. I was like, that's just lazy. I automatically had a dislike of her for really no reason. As it went on, it's like she was there. I mean, she was another straight man in a cast of quirky characters. I don't think you like the straight man as much when there's a lot of more interesting characters there. But I guess her drive and her rivalry with the other teams really a driving force for a lot of it. So she's very important for story, but I don't think as important in terms of like character wise. Like I don't think a lot of people would ship Kaname with her. Like that's like, oh, I wish they ended up together.
Yeah, they didn't really have any chemistry either. I don't think it was ever hinted that. Well, actually, I guess he did kind of fantasize about her a little bit towards the end.
But not importantly.
Yeah. What I want to hear from DJ about is so yeah, this swimming team in the show seems pretty lazy, right? In your experience, like what would happen in this scenario? Like, say every swim team practice, everyone just kind of goes there to goof off. I'm guessing that's not acceptable in your opinion. Someone who mentors swimmers.
I mean, without someone like I'm just gonna call her Purple Hill Girl. I'm terrible with names in anime. Literally,
I am too. Don't worry.
Totally fine.
So, without her like driving them and kind of getting them in check, along with the manager guy, they would be terrible. They wouldn't even be able to like go to meets and stuff because you have to like enter forms and entries and stuff like that. So I'm assuming like that's what he's doing in a manager role, or that's what she's doing as the captain or the vice captain.
Maybe
vice captain.
They're kind of getting him in check. I liked her a lot at first, just because she was, she was a swimmer. She's fast. She's got perfect hair. I guess I didn't like her right away at first. She was all right at first, and then slowly she later became my favorite one. She's my favorite one in the anime.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would have to say I really like her a lot. I mean, in a cast of wacky characters, yeah, I mean, I guess you don't tend to like the straight man character, which she definitely fills a role of. But a lot of the jokes in the show basically involve her bouncing off these other wacky characters, trying to keep them in check, whether it's her telling them off or beating them up or something. But more interesting than that is sometimes she has her own kind of wacky, funny moments. Specifically, like like I said, this is like one of those shows, right? Like it's everyone's perverted and there's a lot of fan service. And her specifically, she's kind of the least fan serviced of them all, I guess. But at the same time, she's still like there's like a desire there for her to be the center of attention, which I think is it's kind of cute to watch her go through that when you see her as kind of like this rough and straight personality. She kind of lets her guard down a little bit, and you can kind of see she wants to be the sexy one every once in a while, which I think is kind of funny. So I think that there's more to her than just being the rational mind of the team, and that's what endeared me to her overall. So yeah, I like her.
I think I would have liked her more if we cut Kaname out of the story and made her kind of more of the main character.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Kaname being she's the one with brown hair, right?
Kaname is the dude.
Is the dude.
Kaname's the dude. Shit. I agree. He didn't really need to be there. I mean, he needs to be there for the love story, though.
Yeah, you want to pretend to be Kaname. That's his role in the show.
That's the whole thing.
That's for the viewers. The viewers are Kaname. Look at all these girls that like you.
Yeah, exactly. Look at him. You're having a great time. Which one will you pick?
He just seems in pain all the time of his life, though. So I would kind of hate to be Kaname.
He is stressed out a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that's Momoko Urizuka. Next up is Maki Ikuta. She's the first year student. She's the really tiny chick who is pretty much obsessed with trying to get her boobs bigger so that she could match up with every other girl on the team, which also has big boobs. But other than that, she's she doesn't know how to swim. She's taking swimming lessons.
She can swim.
with the board.
I don't think she competes at all. She has like a swimming board, and Kaname is telling her to do like a very specific exercise.
She doesn't have legal strokes at all, so she can't race.
Yeah, and she another wacky character that I don't know what to say about her really.
I usually hate these types of characters more so than other types of characters, but near the end of it, like again, a lot of these characters, she kind of grew on me. Like in terms of her humor was really funny. I thought added a lot to a lot of the scenes. Like whenever she's good in a group and she had some good zingers, and I liked her role in it. So I'm a Maki fan.
I'm a fan too. I like her. She is gung ho on being part of this team. You know that she's not the best. She still supports all the ones that do race. And she's got her funny moments, I think she's cool. I like her.
Yeah, Maki's definitely got spunk. Her comedy definitely stems a lot from things that she says, as opposed to, you know, oh, bumped into the boobs, that kind of thing. So yeah, she's got her own thing going, other than because she's the flat one.
Okay.
And then we've got Masa Ikaria, and he is the Chad captain. He's the third year. He's this buff dude with super tall hair, and he is obsessed with shaving people. He likes being stepped on. That's like his kink, I guess. He loves wearing Speedos, and yeah, he's kind of one of the sole, definitely the sole, like the class clown of the whole group. In a team of class clowns, he's up there. He's the real comic relief.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best characters.
I love him. He's like not the fastest swimmer, but he's still all in on swimming. Like he's got the Speedo. That's a big thing in swimming kind of culture, I guess you could call it. Is you don't start wearing Speedos as a guy until you're all in. Like
okay.
You start with like jammers, which are like down. They're like swim trunks. They're down to your leg. So they cover up a bunch, and then you like maybe get like a drag suit that's like a little bit shorter. You're not wearing Speedos till you're all in, especially not that guy that dude's wearing it. He's going for it, and he swims butterfly. Come on,
DJ, do you wear a Speedo, DJ? Are you all in?
I do. I've got multiple Speedos. I got a bunch of suits, so yeah, I got multiple Speedos. I'm all.
Do you have a Speedo with another face on it, like at the bottom to distract people?
No. And that would not fly either. That's totally not allowed.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. There is a scene where, like, he tricks other people into getting a false start because, like, a detachable face mask on his Speedo pops off and lands in the water. So that's not a legit swimming strategy. Is that what you're saying, DJ?
No, and with a false start, they just restart the race.
So you're not disqualified forever. They did the same thing in Free, I think.
Unless you false start a bunch of times in a row.
You don't Dairy Queen unless you false start in a row.
Yeah. That's a DQ. Yeah, Dairy Queen. So speaking of shaved bodies, how important is having a completely shaved body in swimming, really, DJ? If you have like
not important.
Not important? Okay. So you don't need like a super squeaky clean like skin. Like you don't need to be completely freshly shaven for every single race, or do you?
At his level, there's much other things that are going to improve his swim other than shaving his legs. I mean, lots of people do it, like I did it in high school. Just for, like, the mental aspect. Like, you got your cap, you shave your head really short, and you put your cap on, and, like, you've got your legs shaved, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. Like, this is... Because, like, if you got your head, like, your mental game is good to go, you feel like you're going to go fast, and you're going to go a little bit faster. But at that level, especially, like, the high school level, it's not going to help at all.
Okay,
like,
so you need to be working on
form. But at, like, a very, very high swimming level, yes, it is important.
Okay.
It's like a couple milliseconds of drag, and that's an important thing.
And high in professional. So you're saying Masa is actually so far advanced ahead of everybody.
Yeah,
he's using
especially
advanced
in a shorter
strategies.
race, like in a 50 free, shaving your legs versus not can be that could be like the difference between like a record and not a record. 50 free times it's such a fast race that the times are like 5 milliseconds in a 50 free is an eternity. Like at an Olympic level. Like it's a long time.
Yep, so that's what I hear, that Masa's actually really far ahead of everybody else.
He's just way ahead of the game. Like he's like future teller almost, you know?
I like him. I like him a lot because he's not like... I like this type of character who's so cocky, but then like usually is immediately taken down a peg, like no matter what, because he's not that great of a swimmer. He just wants to look cool, and when it like cuts away from him, when he's like kind of super awkward, he sounds like this kind of nerdy, quiet dude. He's like, I just kind of want to play mahjong.
Yeah,
like I wish there was a mahjong. Yeah, exactly how he sounds.
I like him. I like him a lot. He's shredded too, so buff.
Yeah, this dude lifts, man.
And yeah, he's all for it. He likes to swim.
And this character could be really creepy because he literally just strips down nude and flashes everybody. Yeah, that's which probably shouldn't be allowed.
Yes, he does love to strip. Should have mentioned.
But he's great. But he's so funny that that sounds so bad. It's like it's funny, so it's okay that he shows his penis to people. Like
it's an anime.
People probably wouldn't fly either. He also does it with a knife, which I thought was strange.
He's a strange dude.
Yeah, he's a confident man. When he was first introduced, I thought he was actually going to be like, ooh, here's the captain. He's the best swimmer. But I love that he's not. I love that
Yeah,
he's
they're like,
actually
he's
really
not
shitty.
He sucks a lot.
He's like last place most of the time. Yeah, and he definitely has some sincerity to him. There are some moments, particularly towards the end, I guess, when it's like I don't know. These kinds of moments get me every time in sports anime. When like the third years are all like, oh man,
yeah.
it's my last tournament. It's my last tournament here, and these 3 years went by fast. That always gets me. It's like, man, yeah, there's some history there.
Where does the time go?
Yeah. How did you swim in high school, DJ? Did you ever have those feelings where it was like, this is my
100%.
last tournament?
I swam my junior, senior year, and the only thing I would ever change about high school was I would swim all 4 if I could change something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, senior year, whew, that last meet, regionals, dude, whew. I have friends that like they hurt themselves that year and they couldn't like swim to their best ability, and it like devastated them.
Damn.
So friends I still talk to that I'm like, I will train you and make you faster than you were in high school, and they're like, what?
Well, in both swim animes, that always happens. The last tournament, someone gets hurt, and you have to. And because this happened in Free, where a guy got hurt, but it's like he's got to do it anyway because it's his last meet, and he's got to meet his friends out there. And then of course it happens.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I'm talking about a girl that hurt her leg and she couldn't swim all season.
No. So she couldn't push through for her friends, is what you're saying? She couldn't
She
do
was
it?
selfish.
I mean, she still stayed on the team, swam and stuff. She just didn't have as good of times as she would have.
So she stood on the side and sang songs to encourage them.
Yeah.
Good.
That part, I got something to say about that part.
All right. So that was Masa
Can't hear
Ikaria.
shit when you're underwater.
Is Masa Ikaria, generally a very well-liked character. Next up is Mirei Shuzoka. She's the second year. She's the big boob girl. And she's the shy one. But she has she's secretly a sexual deviant, perhaps? A secret pervert? Because very often in the show, a lot of the comedy surrounding her is kind of like she'll say some strange innuendo, kind of like whispering to herself, but someone will hear it kind of thing. Or she'll see something vaguely sexual and she'll be like, I don't want to look. That's not me, but I actually do want to look. So it's like this inner conflict within herself where she's trying to be like this I guess this pure girl that everyone sees her as, whereas her true self is someone who is very much a pervert. And
She just wants to watch. She doesn't want to be watched.
Yeah. I like her a lot. I think she's very atypical as far as characters go in an anime. I don't really see many characters like that, which is pretty cool. And she swims the IM, so she's the realest swimmer on the team.
Yes,
She
the
swims
IM. I know what that is.
The ice
She swims
cream.
the individual medley, meaning she
Right,
swims
that's what I
all
said.
4 strokes in a row. As you see later on when she swims her race, she's swimming 2 different strokes. She swims
That's
all 4
awesome.
of them in a row.
Wow.
She's the only one in this anime that does that. I'm assuming there's more people that swim the individual medley. But she's the only one. It's the only girl that they show swimming butterfly stroke as well, which is pretty darn cool because that's the best stroke. That's biased, but it's the best one. And
Take it, your butt.
there's something we say in swimming that there's non-swimmers and there's I am swimming badasses. So like she's
okay.
a I am swimming badass.
Okay.
Even though she is, I like her. I like her a lot too. Even that shtick, I thought I would get like, okay, it's too much for me. But like the way that they, I guess, played with it as the series went on, like just made her just this ball of nervousness, like no matter what, like struggling throughout everything. Like her trying to buy that decoration piece because she thought it was something else is hilarious to me. But because she is so proportioned in a lot of ways, would that affect her swimming?
Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Big time. Okay. So
Most girls that are well endowed will try to wear multiple suits. Even though by FINA standards, FINA being the governing body of swimming, FINA standards, you're not allowed to wear multiple suits because it helps with buoyancy. But yes, girls like that will try to wear multiple suits.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But
yeah,
I mean, the
overall,
suits do a great job of binding. They're like a mega sports bra. So they would not look like they do in this anime
Okay, yeah.
if they were wearing swimsuits.
I'm guessing no jiggle.
No.
So you think
Like
they consulted a swim producer?
All the girls would look more like the redhead girl. But I mean, that doesn't work for the anime, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't. So they
Jiggle.
consulted a swim producer, and the swim producer's like, guys, the suits don't do that. And then they hit him in the face and be like, our suits do.
yeah, they're like, do you realize what we're trying to make here?
You're obviously at the wrong spot.
You clearly can't do that.
Yeah, I generally like Shizuoka. She's very sweet. I like the shy withdrawnness of her, and she has a particularly good interaction with another character towards the end of the series, which made my opinion of her raise slightly. And also the fact that you mentioned that she is a badass swimmer. I mean, I knew that she was at least a competent swimmer, but I don't know shit about swimming. So the fact that you mentioned that she's actually really freaking good at swimming raises my opinion of her even more. So yeah,
I mean, like, maybe if they had more time, they would show purple-haired girls swimming and in IM as well. Like, I think as far as eliteness, the purple-haired girl is the best swimmer on the team, but we never get to see her swim any other events than freestyle. So the only official IM swimming badass is the other one, the brown-haired girl.
all
And
right.
there's swimmers and there's IM swimming badasses.
I have to
She
accept.
swims the 400 IM too, which is like that's the event of swimming.
Does that
like when
mean
Michael
100
Phelps and
meters per
Ryan-
stroke or
It's
400
400
per
meters
stroke?
total, and it's
Okay.
100 meters per stroke.
Yeah, okay.
So like the big event that like people freak out about at the Olympics, where it's like every big name swimmer in the world, like Michael Phelps is racing against Ryan Lochte. That's the 400 IM. It's the big one. It's the important. It's like the one people. If you're gonna watch one, that's probably the one you see. Them are the relays because relays are exciting.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
Like it's hard to think of like another sport to like compare it to.
yeah.
Like like
super hype.
Yeah, like if another sport where you only see like the final, like in tennis, people only care about like the final of this blah blah blah, right?
Mm.
Those are the one they're gonna tune in to see. Swimming only gets its like moment every Olympics, but if it was less popular in the Olympics, people would probably only watch the 400 IM. Swimming's lucky in the fact that it gets to be kind of the star of the Olympics every 4 years. That and
Right.
gymnastics, right?
Right.
Like nobody gives a shit. And then it's
It's like,
the
oh, I
Olympics
love
time and
swimming
everyone's like,
so much.
swimming! Yeah! And you're like, where were you? You know?
We did this all beforehand too in this 4 years, but I guess now you
Yeah,
care. That's
but
fine.
if it wasn't so hype, the 400 AM might be the only one people watched.
Yeah.
That's the big event.
I'll
Okay.
have to check out some more 400 meter IMs in the future.
You've inspired Jeff.
Relays are more exciting because it's 4 people.
Yeah.
And they throw those in here too, which is awesome. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, that's towards the end. That's like one of the finale races. So yeah, the next character is Maya Nanako. She is a childhood friend of Kaname, and she transfers over into the school about midway through the series. She's a model and a really good swimmer, so she's a great boon to the Umisho team. But she has a crush on Kaname and is jealous that Amuro is, getting more attention than she is. She's kind of like, the entitled kind of, the bitchy one, I guess. She's that one. She's got like that snaggle tooth, the sharp tooth going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
And
man tooth is the perfect description of it.
and she is prone to manipulating other guys to do her will, and also other girls hate her. So yeah, she's the bitchy one, but she does have
I
her
didn't
own.
like her at all at first.
Yeah, she has her own moments of character growth throughout the show, which is nice, and I ended up liking her a bit more as the show went on as well. But overall, she actually doesn't show her face as much as I thought she was when she was first introduced.
Yeah,
when she
she's
was
there.
First introduced, I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
Like she's so annoying, and I'm like, please. And then as it progresses, you're like, okay, this isn't a character that's gonna steal the show. That they're gonna focus on this love triangle that I'm gonna hate. This is a flavor that they're adding to this cast, and it works really, really well because I've met that girl a bunch of times. Right? Like, that
were
girl,
you
I swam in
manipulated by a girl like
California.
this?
No, but like I swam in California. I don't care. All right, like there's it's common where they're like, I'm so good, but she is really good. That's another thing I'd like to mention. This will be the first, maybe of many, testaments to how this anime portrays swimming. When she first arrives, they're like, "Oh, she's a national swimmer, blah 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 blah," or a regional, like she's really really good, right? And she swims a 104 backstroke at practice, which a 104 is not that good.
Oh, okay.
Like back in 2007, that's probably girls are probably swimming like 101, 102s at like state here, 101 double O's at state here in the States. So I'm assuming it was similar there, right?
Right.
But they very specifically, it's at practice. So they add a little time to it. And then later when we see her like 50 free times in the actual event, like her official times, it more better reflects how fast she actually is. They took that consideration to add a little bit to the swim she swam in practice.
So it sounds pretty smart for this.
Yeah, so there's some attention to detail here. I'm guessing the people who wrote this show at least know a little bit about swimming, and then just decide to base a fan servicey show around a swimming team.
To depth a little bit later when we can get a little bit more spoilery. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, at least one of them, if not a bunch of them, had to have had swimming experience.
Okay.
Okay.
Had to have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd love to get into that. Coby, what did you think of Nanako?
I could take her or leave her. I didn't like her when she was introduced. Her only good part to me was her relationship with one of those other characters down the line, which formed a really nice female friendship moment that played off really well in the finale. But if you take away that from her, you cut it from the plot for all I care.
Yeah, she has her own insecurities, which are revealed later on in the show, which again give her a bit more depth. And I am also glad that they didn't spend all this time on her. I was worried that when she was first introduced that she would basically take the show away. But they treated her just like they treated every other person on the show, which is, just as a member of the team. And sometimes she's there, sometimes she's not. Sometimes she's part of things, sometimes she's not. And that's good. I think that's what this show does really well is doling out attention and doling out the limelight to each member of the team appropriately. Which
another thing we might want to shed light on is they're planning this show out. If they had the ending in mind at all, right? Where they knew they were going to do that little, the kind of cliche thing where she got hurt and they had to switch it out, right? If they knew that from the beginning, they needed 4 girls for that relay. They needed 5, counting the one that switched them out.
So they had
shows
the idea.
up. This redhead girl shows up, and then later on, a character that's kind of been in the background, all of a sudden is more of a main character. They needed 4 girls for that relay.
And they were like, guys, no, we already have one. And then they're like, no, we made her character trait that she can't fucking swim. Fuck, we need somebody else on there.
Yeah, right. Like, we'll just have her show up.
So see, she's there, and she has red hair, so she's important.
And also, she knew Kaname already, and we can also insert a love triangle. It'll be great.
Man, we should have written the show.
Yeah. And now there's only a couple more characters I think I want to go over. We can go over them pretty quickly. This one, I didn't even know this girl's name, but she was she kind of had some moments near the mid to the end. Her name is Senai Kisei. She's a third-year student. She co-founded the swimming club team along with the purple-haired girl and the buff Chad team captain guy. And she's the short-haired brown girl.
She just sort of shows up.
Yeah,
she kind of I needed a brushstroker. That's why.
Yeah. She's in the background from the beginning, but yeah, she starts getting actual dialogue not until like maybe episode 6 or 7, maybe even later than that. I don't even think she was around for that late. But
well, she talks. She just doesn't have a She'll have a funny quip here and there.
Yeah, but she didn't have any focus on the series at all until one particular episode.
And then they're like build her in that one episode, and I do like that episode a lot, the one that she narrates.
Me too. It's actually really funny.
It helps you kind of surprisingly, you're like, wow, I really bought into that character out of nowhere. And then it helps you buy into the vice captain a whole bunch too.
Yeah.
So it helps with both of their stories, and it's placed right where it needs to be. I hate when they do flashbacks at the end of the anime. If they were like, here's the big race, and it was like, next episode is the flashback episode, and they're like, just prefer the race. Let me tell you about how we founded the swim team. I'd be like,
who's
are
Kaise?
you kidding me?
Who's speaking right now? Who is this?
Right? I hate that. But I think it was very well placed.
Yeah, she yeah, I don't really know if there's much we could say about her, whether or not we like her or not, because she's really very much in the background. And her personality basically boils down to she just likes to fuck with people. That's her
Yeah, I
personality.
like that. She enjoys fucking with people.
Yeah, I like her whole that whole flashback might be one of my favorite episodes. Just the way it's told, you realize how extraordinary it is, but then like everyone else is like eating it out of the palm of her hands, and then it's great. Everything about that I love.
I'd probably say that Anthony from Anime Dumpster Dive would like her the best because he likes troublemakers, and Anthony's a breaststroker, and she's a breaststroker.
So they're a match made in
made
heaven.
in heaven. Yeah,
Nice. And then the last one is Takeda Saito, and he's the guy whose head is an onion-shaped head. He's the resident creep. He's straight up like some kind of predator. He's probably gonna grow up to be one, but yeah, he's maximum pervert. He's in it.
Shark face.
He's in it for the booty. He's in it
perfect,
for the
too.
boobies. Yeah.
The moment you see him, you're like, "Well, that guy's a fucking creeper."
Yeah, that's the creep. You can point him out amongst the. And there's a few guys on the team. I think there's only like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
max,
that's the whole thing.
swimmers.
There's 12 girls and only 4 guys, and all the guys kind of suck.
Yeah, all the guys suck, and they're all perverts. But Takeda, he's the leader of the pervy
Which
group.
I don't know if they really thought of this. Incredibly common in swimming.
Yes, tell me about it.
There's way more girls
Onion
than
head?
guys.
Mhm.
No, not onion head creeps.
Okay.
There's
I
usually
thought that's what you meant.
There's usually way more girls than boys. And in general, the girls are better. Not only because at a younger age, girls just have the ability to excel in swimming before boys like develop and get all the muscle, then they're faster. But before that, girls are all faster. Like legit, girls' times are faster and harder to get than boys are before puberty. But then after that, like in high school, it's just common to see like high school swim teams, especially like around here. Swimming's not that huge, right? Maybe in California it's a little different. But it's very common to see teams with lots of girls and not as many boys. I think I work for a team that has a whole bunch of people, but I'd say we probably have twice as many girls as guys.
So you're saying when they wrote this show, they were just like, we're gonna make a show with more girls in swimsuits than guys because we want to be accurate. That was their thinking.
As
and
close
reasoning
to
behind it.
reality
I
as
think
possible.
they were like, hey, we're gonna, because I mean, there's those 4 guys show up more than the other background girls do,
True.
right? I think they were
yeah.
like, oh, we got all these girls, and then let's make some guy characters, and then they were like, wait a second, we can just make only 4 guy characters because there's more girls than guys in swimming. I'm telling you, man, so one of these writers at least, like, it's a little bit autobiographical. Like that guy must have like founded the swim club at his like high school or something. Like they got their finger on the pulse a little bit of like how it feels to be like, especially in like a small swim team. Like,
well, that's good in terms of authenticity. It gives the anime a little bit more to root for, I guess.
Definitely. Now, how many Takeda Saitos have you come across in your swimming career? How many of these pervert, close to maybe growing up to be predators types have you met? Are there a lot of them, or are they very few, or none?
there's not many.
Okay, that's good.
There
Reassuring.
was a guy that was a couple years ahead of me that was kind of perverted towards other guys. That's as far as I'll go.
Okay.
But other than that, not really. No.
Okay, that's
Onion
good to hear.
heads.
No little onion heads. Maybe it's different in
Well,
Japan. Who knows?
He was just so tough to look at, especially because nobody else looked like him. Like not even.
Yeah, so
Yes.
and then we'll make this guy a mutant. They're like, all right.
Yeah, it's like apparently mutants exist in this world, but that's like an element we're sweeping under the rug because swimming.
Yeah, so this guy is straight up a creep. He does some really very questionably moral things in the show, and a lot of the comedy stems from that. It stems from him just doing something perverted, which sometimes it's funny, sometimes just like, ew, weird, strange. But yeah, that's the end. That's the last character I guess we can kind of discuss in this character discussion section.
That is usually
They're
way
usually
more
or
characters.
less. Oh, there's usually
Way
way
less. Way less. We
Way
usually
less,
talk
yeah.
about like 3 or 4 characters.
Yeah,
Really?
and I figured the reason we could go over every single character is one, well, I'm kind of padding for time here. I don't really know how much we could talk about the swimming.
Padding for time.
But
54 minutes in.
Yeah, well, the other thing is the show really does revolve around every single character of the team. They all have their own moments. They all have their own function. And other shows generally focus on maybe like 2 or 3 people at a time, as Coby mentioned, and those are the ones we usually talk about. But
this one's definitely an ensemble.
Yeah, it is definitely an ensemble, and I actually really appreciate and enjoy that about this show. As a lot of sports animes are more individual focused as opposed to focus on the team, and I think this is one of the show's strengths is that it is able to get you interested and invested in a lot of these characters. And as lighthearted and comedic as it is, if the characters weren't this interesting or likable, I wouldn't like the show as much. So yeah, good on them. Good. I think it's a good, solid cast.
It's kind of what we said at the beginning about how this is really like a slice of life more than a sports anime. And as we said, this is like our first kind of slice of life sports anime. And I actually came to enjoy it near the end there because of its slice of life aspect, and that's because of these quirky characters that had a little bit more to them than I initially thought. So with diving into this cast, it was good to kind of examine the good and the bad about them and how they work together as a team to create this kind of whimsical, not really important sports anime that was more of a slice of life. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think once you set aside like the idea, like, okay, we're probably not going to be focusing on swimming that much in the show, and you just kind of like put that on the shelf, and just kind of enjoy the ride as it goes. It definitely just becomes a much more enjoyable anime. But yeah, those are all the characters. And next up, usually, how we doing, DJ? How you feeling so far? Anime Ricochet podcast.
I'm doing fine. Doing great.
Very good. So the next section, we usually talk about the sport itself and how it's represented in the show. And I mean, you are the resident expert of swimming, so I think I'm just gonna hand this over to you, and maybe you can just kind of go off and talk about, well, like what's accurate in this show, what's not accurate in the show, what are some things that they represented in swimming that they did correctly or incorrectly, maybe some things you liked, disliked. Is there anything that stands out to you?
Oh, I'm ready. I've been holding this for you.
Yes.
This is the big reveal. All right.
Oh man.
I'm sure that, I mean, I would love to piece by piece tear this thing to shreds about everything it did wrong, right?
Yes.
But instead, I will turn the target towards another anime called Free Anatomy.
Yes.
So, if you Google free anime, you go down like 5 or 6 pictures, right? There's a picture, it's like a wallpaper. It's all these guys, beautiful and shirtless, and it's every character in the show, I'm assuming, right? Every single one of them has their goggles around their neck.
Oh my god.
Okay. No one. Nobody does that.
Really?
It's so uncommon. It's like a swimming faux pas. Nobody wears their goggles around their neck. If me as a swimmer looking at this picture, I'm like, why are all these fucking idiots wearing their goggles around their neck? Nobody does that. No one. 0 people. There's an Olympian named Chad Leclose that wears his goggles around his neck because, like, when he was little, he would always lose them or something like that. And, like, the guy he looked up to wore his goggles around his neck. And he gets commonly asked, like, hey, Chad, why do you wear your goggles around your neck? Nobody does it. You could Google swimming photos, and there's, like, little 5-year-old kids that aren't wearing their goggles around their neck. It is so uncommon that there's no way. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8 of them are wearing their goggles around their neck, and the other guy's got it around his arm.
Right now?
Yeah, the other guy's got it around his arm. So, I mean, 8 out of 8 are wearing their goggles like idiots, right? There's no way they would all be doing that so often that when they posed for the team picture, that they all were doing it. There's no way. And that was the first thing when I watched Free that just frustrated me on belief. Because they're constantly doing it. I'm like, nobody does that. No one. Add that to the fact that the guy only swims freestyle, and that's not going to fly, no matter what. And I haven't seen the rest of the thing, but I'm telling you, if I did, boy, would I have something to say.
Red flag.
That was just about the goggles.
It's, like, that's the problem. Is like, that's such
it's
a little thing.
A small detail, but important in the culture.
But it's a huge detail, right? It's like if you like, I can't compare it to anything, but it was like if you're watching a baseball anime and these dudes all got like their gloves in the wrong spot. Nobody does that, right? Like, nobody ever carries them that way. And every dude in the anime is doing it that way. That's just not how it works. Like, day one, high school swimmers wear their goggles around their neck and then stop on day two. Like, it doesn't happen. It's crazy that they were like, yeah, this is fine. In this show, not one motherfucker in the whole show not that I noticed, has their goggles around their neck at any point. There's parts where they're stopping in the middle of the pool, looking at the coach. There's parts where they're standing in their swimsuits, getting ready to race. Not one of them has their goggles around their neck. On their head, or in their hand, never around their neck. So step one, we're off on a good start, right?
As someone who knows nothing about sports, where should the goggles be? I'm guessing your forehead or your eyes.
Either in your hand, or if you just took them off, they're on your forehead, because you're going to put them back on.
Gotcha.
It's so hard. Here's part of it. It's so hard to get your goggles off of your neck or onto your head from your neck. It's just so inconvenient. Like, it's so clear to me that whoever animated these guys in Free has never swam, and no one told him anything about it. There's this other anime about Rubik's Cubes, right?
What?
Yes, go on.
Okay, where it's about like this love story, but in the background the guy solves Rubik's Cubes, right?
Sure.
And the art of I've mentioned this on our podcast before. In the art of the Rubik's Cubes, there's impossible cases. Like, blue and green can never touch because they're on opposite sides of the cube, right? So you can tell that these guys didn't put any effort into trying to figure out how these things would actually look. And it's like a small gripe, but it's literally, for them, it would have been easy as buying a legit Rubik's Cube, mixing it up, and just drawing that 37 different times. Because they never would have, but they just drew a cube and just painted squares on it. It's the little things that really make it, And I know that neither of these animes are like a Rubik's Cube anime or a swim anime, except maybe Free. The Rubik's Cube anime gets a pass because it's a love story. The Rubik's Cubes are a side thing, but Free does not. Okay?
Free does not get it. What about this anime?
Okay, this anime, like I said, starts off on a really great foot because nobody's wearing their goggles around their neck, which is just ridiculous.
I mean, if you look at the poster of this show, it's a naked chick swimming above other people underwater. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, I got something to say about. Let me look it up. Umisho, you got to put the U on it, right?
See,
anime.
Jeff, do you regret going into so much detail about these characters?
Okay, so you got
not. This is that was the foundation for this real conversation we're having.
Here's the thing: the anime, the poster I'm used to looking at is where he's got the whistle in his mouth, and she's like in her like nightie, looks like swimming above them. Purple haired girl got her goggles on her head, dude. They're on her head.
Nice,
Jeff. They're on her head.
Around her neck. They're on her head, where they belong. All right.
That's good.
So that's good.
Okay, so I've never seen Free, so I can't say if like the swimming animation is incorrect or that the things they're doing aren't common in swimming, or the turns are illegal or anything like that. I can't speak to that, but I can speak to the fact that it frustrated me on belief. Like the 2 episodes that I watched, I was like, nobody swims that wrote this. There's no way.
And do you think somebody who swam could write this one?
Yes. So like I mentioned before, that the animation isn't like crazy in depth. This isn't like Yuri on Ice where they're spending all the money to animate him ice skating so accurately, Yeah,
they're just kind of floating in the water in this
one.
one.
They're kind of floating in the water in this one, right? But they do take consideration to do things correctly. The turns are correct. They're legal, right? There's little things like when the purple-haired girl is talking to the coach, about I got the names right here, dude. I'm ready. Amuro.
Amuro, right? Good job.
He's like, did you? He just taught her how to jump into the pool correctly, and she says, did you teach her how to start? Did you teach her starts? That's what they're called. They're called starts, and that's a common thing that people who aren't in the swimming community don't know that. They're like, yeah, you dive into the pool. Like, how's your dive going, right? It looks like a dive. It's called a dive, right? It's called a start. Like, It is a dive, but universally, it's called a start, right?
Sure.
Okay, so they got
We
the
know that,
terminology right? They got terminology
Yeah,
right.
so they nailed the term, like little details of terminology. There's a point in the 8th episode, where the girl who swims the I am swimming badass one.
Yes.
the
Shirazuka.
Yeah, the deviant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's swimming an I am. It's the first time that you see her swim that event, and she's swimming butterfly into backstroke, and the turn's perfectly legal, and that is a very complex turn. It's a very complex turn to animate, especially to make sure you animate a legal turn, right? And they did. They were like, she's got to make sure she touches with both hands, stuff like that. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. The fact that they really fine-tuned the times including maybe purposely making her time a little slower because it was at practice, the redheaded girl.
Right. Maya.
They show a bunch of 50 free times for all the girls when they're about to swim the 50 free, and they're right on target where they should be as far as that year and being a girl in high school. Like, they did their research on that. They nail how it feels to be on a small swim team like that, just like the feeling. Couple things they do wrong. How could a bunch of kids just fill a pool with water and start swimming in with it? I don't know.
Magic
Lots of
and the
operational
heart of
costs.
true belief.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that so that's the section of the anime where they first start the team in the flashback episode. But I assume that like they just cleaned the pool up, and then once they were able to do that, they were able to get a budget approved from the actual clubs.
Yeah, because there's lots of operational costs.
Yeah, so I'm guessing they didn't do that themselves. They probably cleaned it up and were like, "Hey, we want a swimming team. We cleaned up the pool already. Can you give us money to give us water?" And of stuff like
There's
that.
little stuff that's weird. The redheaded girl doesn't wear goggles.
She doesn't
really.
need it. She's Maya. She speaks in the third person and has a snaggletooth.
You're not going anywhere not wearing goggles. And I'm fine with Amuro not wearing goggles. She's an alien, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
this girl not wearing goggles, that's a little suspect, all right? She should put them on. Just because you swim backstroke doesn't mean you don't have to wear goggles. She
Don't
would
have
be
water in
blind.
your eyes.
The people who sing later on, right?
Yeah,
There's no way that would ever work or be allowed or work. You can't hear anything when you're swimming. Like, your teammates are 100% screaming at you at the top of their lungs, right? But you, if anything, can barely hear them. Like, when you turn and you're right next to them, like, you can't hear anything while you're swimming. There's so much splashing. Your ears are already underwater, plus there's splashing going on. You're deafened. There's no way you would be able to hear a song and swim to the rhythm of that song.
So if your whole team, but if they were singing, would you feel in your heart of hearts the love that was in the air from that inspires you to go faster?
That very may be possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they felt it in their inner soul that the rhythm was there.
Yeah, that they knew that their teammates were singing, obviously.
But, like, during that part, I was like, there's no way. I'm like, they're not singing nearly loud enough. There's no way she could hear them.
I just wish every time something like that happened on the show, when I was watching the show pause, and I just hear DJ say, "There's no way," and it would have continued on like that.
But other than that, I think I was impressed throughout the show with the little... I'm sure I could probably think of more. These are the ones that are just popping off the top of my head. But I was impressed with the little details that they had as far as swimming goes. Stuff's animated weird, like they don't put their heads underwater on breaststroke, but I think that's just because of animation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They only breathe on one side. I mean, again, animation, right? Because they don't have to draw them again if they only breathe on one side.
Yeah. I wonder because as Jeff and I, we don't know a lot about sports anime, and there's a lot of sports anime that we like. We really like Haiku, which is volleyball. We really like Baby Steps, which is tennis. But since we're not those types of players, like we don't know
or any type of player,
or any types of players, like if they make mistakes, we don't know it, so that doesn't take away our effect. It must be hard for someone like you to watch a sports anime for a sport that you really care passionately for, and it obviously shows for them to make such huge mistakes, and that sort of takes you out of it. And I think that's really interesting.
The biggest thing was that a lot of times, especially in the beginning when it was like, it's kind of a slow burner, this anime, especially in the beginning, I was like, just get to the swimming. Like when they were at practice swimming, I was like, yeah. When they were like out in town doing stuff, I was so bored.
Yeah,
And the whole time I'm like, just get back to the swimming. All right, I'm ready. I want to see some swimming.
It took a while to get into the mindset of accepting that this isn't a swim anime as much as we thought it was
not
going
a sports
to be.
anime. Yeah, typically in sports animes, you'll have some kind of progression. Yeah, you'll have someone join the team. The team join, like they grow together, and then they work towards a tournament that's coming up in a couple months or something like that. This one,
Well,
it
does hit all those points. So I disagree. I do think this is a sports anime. It's just a different type of sports anime. It's a slice of life sports anime because it hits all the beats that we've seen before. As we said, the new character coming into the swim team right off the bat, who's either super overpowered.
There's a training camp.
There's a tournament, there's a quirky cast of characters around it, and there's an enemy that surfaces, and there's a flashbacks episodes and previous things are revealed. All the elements that we've seen in sports animes are here before. It's just done so wrapped up in a slice of life kind of bouquet.
Well, the thing is,
it's a slow start.
When
I started this, I was like, oh man, this is not going to be what I thought it was, right? This is an anime about a mermaid, not about swimming, right?
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, I'm like, oh wait, let me change that. No, this is, as like a swimmer, this has plenty of swimming in it. Plenty. Enough to like 8, 9, 10, and 11, like all mixed together, those episodes. Because I'm like, okay, there's a tournament going on. Like I was in, right? But before that, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Once they're at the tournament, though, I'm all for it. Like, there's plenty of it. I think it's got enough to call it a swim anime for sure.
Well,
I was watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I was because like typically every activity in sports anime hinges around the sport itself. Like I guess like Haikyuu as an example. Like every episode, they were practicing a new move or like trying to get someone to play again, or there's like a practice with another team or something like that. Whereas this one, it's like there is swimming, and I'm glad you say there's enough swimming in it. But there's like they'll do like random shit. Like there's a lot more side adventures in this one, which is it's not typical of a sports anime for sure.
They're like, screw practice, we gotta help build Amuro's house.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like
screw
the team
practice. We're going to a watermelon eating contest.
Yeah, they specifically do not like to practice. Like you see them goofing off in practice all the time, so they always get sidetracked with different shit. I think most of the swimming just happens at the tournaments, which is, I guess, appropriate for this show. But in other sports animes, it's like when they're at practice, they're actually doing the sport thing. I'm not knocking this anime or anything like that. I'm just saying it is definitely of a.
It's a different type of sports anime.
Does not follow the typical sports anime formula, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I mean another good example is, as far as details, when Amuro first swims, like I was watching her swim, I was like, wow, she swims like that, she's gonna DQ. And then at her first meet, she swims like that, she DQs. I'm like, okay. I'm like, damn, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
So DJ, how would you grade how this show represents swimming overall? If you were to give it a score.
You can make up your own scoring system too.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a better one. Like I looked, and I couldn't find any other swim animes other than Free. And Free is egregious, right?
Okay. So by default, this one wins.
This is the best swim anime.
By default, this one wins. Like, there's no anime yet that features swimming kind of as a main character. And I think that's what you guys are used to watching, is those animes that really, really focus on the sport.
Right.
And, like, are like love letters almost to the sport.
Definitely.
There's no anime like that for swimming yet. But I think this one definitely cared about representing swimming correctly. They put effort into it.
Like if they wanted to, like if they wanted to be a swim anime legitimately, it could have been.
Yeah, they probably did enough research to do it. I mean, they would have had to hire more animation and stuff like that. But
less boobies.
There was no illegal turn that I saw. The only times that there is like illegalities in swimming are when Amuro swims and she's an alien person, so it's all good. And even then, it's questionable whether or not she would have been DQ'd. It's more of like a behavioral thing than an actual DQ. Like when there's a point where she literally leaps out of the water in the middle of the race.
Yeah,
because she's an alien.
To do that, I don't think so.
It's like the Air Bud rule.
You can completely turn over in freestyle. I think once you're swimming on your stomach, you can't switch strokes to backstroke. Because once you're on your back, that's backstroke, and you can't switch strokes. So that's a DQ. You can't leap out of the water, I don't think. Also a DQ, right? But she's also an alien.
So she can do what she wants.
She's got alien rules.
The whole time I'm like, yeah, but that's Amuro. Like, she can swim, you know? As far as the actual swimming, like the swimmings, none of them. It's all legal. Other than stuff like I mentioned where it's like, I think they just did it for animation's sake, like the breaststroke and the breathing on one side. They definitely did their research. More than Free did.
So, Coby, does this show make you want to do swimming, I guess? Join a high school swimming team?
Join a high school swim team. I don't know if there were these cast of characters there who are all seem kind of fun to hang out with and would be around to observe. I would say, yeah, I'd be interested in giving swimming a try. I don't think I'm comfortable to go all in and wear a Speedo, but I'd would work my way up. I think it'd be kind of fun. Yeah. More so than other shows we've watched.
Definitely. I think if by swimming I mean goofing around with this colorful cast of characters and lazing around during practice days and not taking things particularly seriously, I would say yes. This is a cast of characters I want to hang out with and goof around with. So that's good.
I don't mean to dread on the fact that Free is egregious, right?
It's fine
sure,
if you
but
do.
I'm telling you, man, it sounds like this little tiny thing that they're wearing their goggles around their neck. But I'm telling you, 95% of like people who have been swimming for a long time that watch that anime, they would bring it up.
I believe you.
They'd be like, yeah, this is all fine, but why are they all wearing their goggles around? Nobody does that.
But what about the interpersonal relationships that and the undercurrents of homoerotic tendencies that Free had about friendship?
Always taking their shirts off and stuff. Those guys are shredded, by the way. Let me state that.
Yeah.
They should be swimming way faster than they are. They're shredded. I don't know how fast they actually go.
So next up, we usually talk about the presentation, what we feel, how it feels like.
I think we covered that.
Yeah, I mean, we already mentioned a little bit about how the animation can be, I suppose not as detailed as it could be, whether it be for budgetary reasons or whatever, but you mentioned that it's generally very accurate, so that's good. I don't really have much else to say other than, in terms of the animation, nobody in this show seems to have a nose. No, the artist does not like to draw noses, I guess.
And one
the art
onion head
style's a
boy.
little older.
Yeah, it has...
07, but it feels even a little bit older than that.
Yeah, it felt like something from the 90s or something. Maybe like late 90s-ish. But yeah, 07 is...
Just felt cheap in terms of let's show more boobies and less detail.
Yeah, that's true. I mean that's a pretty cheap thing to do, to, in 2007, be animating something like it looks in the 90s.
Yeah.
Just a simpler style, and I think you get used to it, but it's definitely, like, you know, like Coby said, it's cheap.
Yeah, it works. It works for the show. It's a comedic show. You don't go here for the high fidelity animation. You go here for the boobies and the jokes.
That's what, in terms of presentation, I guess that's what I gotta ask, because this doesn't go too far over the edge. Do you think what they do in terms of what they show, which is obviously not a lot, it shows like the figures and things are blocked out and stuff like that, is it good that they kept it like this, or would this anime have been better if they went full on nude, like how they did,
like
and
ecchi.
yeah, more ecchi, or would have kind of ruined the tone that this show had?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely I don't watch much ecchi anime myself, so I don't really know. But I think if I were to imagine that it would be, I guess more, what's the word, more vulgar, it would kind of ruin the tone for me, because overall it's just a very lighthearted show. So I think that I prefer, I guess, the sort of quote unquote tasteful censorship they went with here, and because everything is basically played for laughs. You know, yeah, it's fan servicey, but a lot of it is mostly just kind of either overly gratuitous or just like, or these sorts of perverted things happen in some kind of comedic situation.
I was surprised
for like a comedy ecchi. You gotta go a little bit light with it. Like this one's super light; they don't show much. Or Prison School is a good example. There's a censored version. There's an uncensored version of that show, and there is ecchi in it, but it's like barely there. Like it's every once in a while it'll be like a flash or whatever, and it's not that often. and it's always to help the comedy in that show rather than to just be egregious.
Yeah.
So you either do that, you like sprinkle it in and focus on the storyline, right? And then I think dramatic, like action-based ecchis do that pretty well sometimes too.
Yeah.
Where they'll just like have a little bit of like nudity and then focus on the storyline. You either do it that way or you go full bore. This is like a nudity anime. Like trying to be in the middle is not going to work. It's just going to come off weird, right?
Yeah.
So if you were like, "Oh, this is a funny, lighthearted story with so much nudity," you'd be like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like, don't care about the story, just look at the nudity, you're like, okay, these people know what they're doing. Like, Valkyrie Drive Mermaid is that example, right? They know what they're
you talked
doing.
about that one, yeah.
They're making a boob anime. The story, like, who cares? They're making a boob anime. Yeah, the girls turn into weapons, blah, blah, blah. It's a boob anime. They know what they're doing. It's not like they were, like, super serious about the storyline. No, it's a boob anime. So
Right.
I think you have to go on one side of the coin or the other. The middle's just going to come off really, really weird.
Right.
It would definitely dilute the tone and the focus. If you try and go half measure with it.
I was surprised with, like, 'cause I guess I don't know in terms of language about what they could get away with. Sure, there's no cursing or this and stuff, but like their innuendos that they made, like when Shizuka was like in the temple and she was like overhearing them talk. They were talking about steam buns, but she was hearing them.
Yeah, pretty steamy.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's like getting hot. Oh, if I touch it, it gets harder. Like, oh, it's like, and he's like, no, you can't put it in your mouth like that. Like, it's like that was farther. It went farther than I expected it to
Very
go
on the
from
nose.
what I've seen so far in the show. And it just stood out for me. It's just like, oh, I guess they don't have to show stuff, but they can still be very vulgar in terms of what they say.
Entendres, yeah.
Yeah, entendres.
You can get away with a lot as long as you're talking about something else, though.
Yeah,
Sure,
they're just like, why are you talking about penises? No, we're not. We're talking about mushrooms.
I mean, they do that in like kids movies all the time. Like, you know, those like Pixar films sometimes, and like DreamWorks in particular. Shrek,
Yep.
I saw Shrek recently, especially. That one had some innuendos.
Yeah,
Sure,
stuff
somebody
that's
was there.
implied like that as
Yeah.
a joke can get away with like so much more. Like Japan's way more open with that type of joking around and stuff and sexuality than we are here.
Mhm.
But like I don't know when Austin Powers came out, like the 90s or so.
Yeah.
But they've got the scene with the tent where it's like a silhouette.
Yeah, they did. They played
And
a
he's
lot
like
with
bent
science in that one.
over,
Yeah,
right? And she's like helping him like fix something or something.
Hammer
like that,
stuff
right?
in there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
and
the duffel
that's
bag.
crazy. Like to think that they got away with that, but because it's all represented as a joke and none of that is actually happening, like it's okay.
yeah, it's played for laughs. It's a joke. Yeah,
I wonder if it's different, like if the audience is aware of it. Like, could they get away from that if it was just Shizuko standing in the corner and you hearing them say all this stuff and just like, oh, what's happening, without us fully knowing that they're talking about a mushroom? Like, first
Probably
and
not.
foremost. That's interesting how they have to do that.
yeah. Well, actually, did we in that scene in particular? Do we even know what exactly they're talking about?
Yeah, they know. We know. We see it first off.
Oh, do they show the
mushroom.
offerings?
She's eating like the old ass food
Okay, yeah.
that makes
okay.
her sick. I
Yeah,
liked
the
that
mushroom.
part a lot too. I thought it was really cliche that she suddenly got all offended and ran away. I was like, oh, this is dumb. But then when it's revealed, it's just like, oh no, my stomach hurt. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when like it's so cliche that the cute happy character gets offended and runs off, and then he has to go like save her and tell her that he actually cares about her, and then it's a happy end, right? I liked that they went more atypical, that the cute character ran off because she had a stomach ache.
Stomach
Yeah.
ache. Yeah, my stomach hurt. I know about your grandma. What? No, she's fine.
Yeah, what are you talking about? My stomach
My
hurt.
stomach hurt.
And
The worst father in the world didn't help in that situation.
yeah, that is very questionable. There
Take
is
care of my daughter.
they talked about how like Amuro her boobs got bigger, and she says that the dad and her brothers like fondled them, and that's how.
Oh,
they,
I wrote that.
never
I
comes
wrote
back
that
up?
line down. I wrote that line down. That was in episode 4, where it's just like, this is a comedy anime, but it's super dark. Because yeah, she says that we learned she was like sexually assaulted by her father and
It never
her
comes
brothers. No, it doesn't. It's just like, oh, my
But
father and brother.
I
used
just
to rub
wrote
them.
that as like she's so open with touching other people's boobs. I was like, maybe that's just a thing
Mhm.
that her family does.
I don't know. I don't trust
know.
that.
I mean,
dad.
yeah,
They're all aliens.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
know.
aliens do, I guess.
that was
I
weird,
did-
though. I agree.
I liked his quirk that he like tried to steal everything he saw,
yeah.
that like wasn't bolted down.
They steal
Put on
everything.
his new house.
They eat everything. They eat dolphins. which is
Try to eat seals.
try to eat some seals.
I like the weird nosed fish they keep eating.
Oh yeah, that
keep
weird,
trying.
the deep sea one. Yeah,
The deep sea
the
weird-nosed
weird
fish.
looking one.
That opens its mouth like every time they eat it.
What did you guys think of the soundtrack? Notable,
Unmemorable, really.
unmemorable?
Oh wait,
Yeah.
besides the, it was "You Can Fly High."
The OP,
so
it's
let's
catchy.
get
Did you-
naked.
Yeah. Did you guys watch that every
The
time or
song is
skip?
catchy. I skipped it, but it's catchy.
Yeah,
It
I
gets
just
ya.
did the same thing. Like in the final scene, the final swim scene, when they play it again, like I thought it worked well for me. It worked on
Because
me.
you remember, you play it again and you remember that that's the opening.
Yeah.
Because it's so catchy. It's got a nice little chord progression, so when they play it at the end again, you're like, oh shit, that's the opening, all right.
When they played the opening in the actual show itself, you know shit's about to go down.
Oh
That's,
yeah.
that's a real
Oh,
dramatic
yeah.
moment right there.
But I mean, sometimes I don't know it. Sometimes I'm like, what is it? I don't remember it's the opening because I've skipped it every time since I watched
So
the
many times.
first episode.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it starts so suddenly with that nice little chord progression. Even if you're about to skip it, you recognize it.
Right.
And it's catchy. It's good. The translation is really strange.
Mm,
But
yeah.
Just
it's
right
catchy.
off the bat, they were just like, "What am I
You can
watching?"
Fly
here?
high, let's get naked.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
fitting for the
Then
show.
It's like your dolphin kick is like a summer breeze. It's like, what?
Very poetic. And then we just talked about the plot already, and I think we can comfortably say the theme is, I guess, teamwork, friendship.
Friendship.
It's really really everything you see in any other sports anime. I think nothing particularly astounding. So I think we can move into spoiler sections now, even though we've spoken a lot about the show over the course of this discussion. We didn't really.
It's kind of hard to spoil. Right?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about anything major. We just kind of talked moments here and there, but we're gonna enter the spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1. So we're now in spoiler section. So yeah,
Yeah. What else is there?
let's open the discussion. Who is best girl?
Shizuko, the big, the
boob girl.
the deviant. Yeah.
Okay, Coby says
Um,
Shizuko. DJ?
Orizuka.
DJ's going Orizuka.
Purple hair. Okay.
But at first, it was the big boobed girl. I'm always about the biggest boobs, right?
right.
But until later, when she gets a little bit more serious, I was like, I feel you, girl. Like,
She gets better though, because of her relationship with Maya. Come on, that's like the sweetest part of the show.
dude, I'm all for her. I am swimming badass, big boobs, skimpy lingerie. I'm all for her, right?
Sure.
But when Orizuka starts talking about how it's her last tournament and
And she
how,
gets that
like,
sprain or that muscle
she
cramp or
wants to
whatever.
be none of that. Just before the tournament,
Oh,
when she's
okay.
like, it's my last one. Like, I want to make it like memorable. I want to go to this tournament. Like, she just wants to go to that. It's like the pre-senior or whatever tournament. She doesn't even want to win. She's like, I just want to better myself one more time in swimming before I'm done with it, right? And I was like, girl, I feel it. Like,
Right.
He knows that.
Jeff,
feel.
be our tiebreaker.
I'm gonna go Shizuka also.
Yes.
But Orizuka is very good. I mean, like I said, this is a colorful cast of wacky characters, and I actually liked her dynamic between everyone else and how she was, how she had different layers to her, which was good. She had some vulnerability, but yeah, what ultimately won me over for Shizuka was one. I personally liked a lot of her comedic moments where she had to like hide from people, and how she's constantly finding herself in situations where she ends up like at a hot tub where she doesn't want to be seen, and then she has to find a way to like escape. Like there's that
Classic.
yeah. I mean the second time it happens, she just passes out in the hot tub or in the hot springs because like she doesn't want anyone to see her. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, particularly the moment she shares with Maya where she's there to comfort her and stuff, and I mean throughout the show you kind of suspect that she's kind of the sweet motherly type, but she never really has the opportunity to show that off until that moment. And when I saw that moment, I was like, yes, she's the one. She's
that
the
moment with
one.
Maya is another like pure swimming moment. Like the ones that really hit me were when Orizuka and Ikaria, the captain, both are like, man, that's our last year. Like this has gone by fast.
Yeah,
Right.
I love that.
Like you were talking about how that always hits you. Like that, I was like, dude. And then when Maya has a bad swim, like that now it still happens to me all the time as a coach. Like, it happened to me when I was in high school with other swimmers, with myself. Like, it happens to me all the time as a coach now. Like, all of your swims are not going to be your best one. Like, you will smash one swim and then do 10 more swims that aren't as fast as that one, right? Like, you got to, and sometimes you'll have a really bad one. You got to get ready for it one, right? And she just had a bad swim, and she was not happy with it. And especially for someone who's used to winning like that, if you have a shitty swim, dude, you're not gonna have a good day. And it was very relatable. It happens all the time. I'm glad they like. It looks kind of like she's being like a whiny brat, but like that's a thing. That's a common thing.
It makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely does. And the show definitely framed it correctly as well. Like, I think they did a good job with everyone showing sympathy for her, because that is it. You're right. It can be seen as her just being a brat. That's actually initially what I thought of at first, because like, oh yeah, you know, she wins all the time and she loses once and she's crying. But the way that everyone kind of shows up to support her made her very sympathetic, and it definitely showed a new angle to her character that I liked, and definitely made Maya more likable after that. So that's cool.
Yeah. Other moments, I guess, that I'm thinking. I'm thinking about like the moments I really liked in terms of the spoilers. I did like when our team started singing the song with them just to try to match it, but they all started singing like different songs and just about like random stuff. Mm-hmm. I liked Shizuko trying to buy whatever that horn thing was from the old.
What did she think? She thought it was like a penis thing.
Yeah, a penis cover. Sure.
Yeah.
And she couldn't buy it. And I really liked the whole setup gag of them. He's like, "Oh, where'd you buy these tube tires?" And it's like, "Oh, I got them cheap, but I got them for a good price." And they walk. It's like, "Why are all our bikes taken?"
That's a legit training tool.
100% a training tool. Gotcha. Yeah, they're not bicycle tires, but it's like surgical tubing. Yeah, 100% a thing.
Yeah, I love that, and I laughed really hard at the line in the because the show started doing a weird thing where episodes like 8 and 9 was like part and then like ended with like the end credits, but then it had another like 6 minutes of an episode like afterwards.
A lot of them did that.
Yeah,
it was like a unrelated like little tiny mini thing.
Mm-hmm. And I liked it, and I actually liked the one a lot where the Takeda and a bunch of other boys try to like pick up girls. And like he accidentally tries to pick up like a child, and it's like gets dragged away. But when he goes, "Oh, weird lips, oh, glasses, oh, raccoon fox," like I laughed really hard at that line. I was like, "Oh God, they're so mean."
He's great the whole time.
He was, yeah. He grew on me, even though I don't really like these pervy characters a whole lot. Besides, I think in Bakken Test, I really like the pervy character, but this one too, I actually like that. So overall, what I'm trying to say is this was a funny anime. Like I actually laughed. Like
same.
Like a good amount.
I laughed when the captain shows up and they're like, "Where have you been? You're late." And he's like, "I'm here. That's all you need. My race isn't even until tomorrow." Like, that's so real. That's so real. Like, I don't have a race today. I don't know,
right? Why would I need to be here? The captain was great in general. Like when he walks, like they did not let me start a mahjong club. It's like all he wants to do. It's great. Yeah, that's really it for my spoilers because there's not really a lot of spoilers.
I liked the end. As cliche as it was, I was like watching it and I was like, okay, all right, this is what's gonna be. But when she jumps in and they play the music, I was like, yeah, let's go.
I'm invested.
I got pretty hyped for the relay, especially after Maya has a bad backstroke swim. Like the swimmer and the coach and me, I was like, all right, tomorrow you gotta show them on your 50 back then. Like if you had a bad 100 backstroke. Got to show up tomorrow. You can't just complain, right? And she shows up and she helps him win that backstroke. So
right,
she recovers from it. I was excited to see that. I was like, yeah, catch that girl, yeah.
What I thought was kind of weird was like, the writers of the show must have known that they weren't going to get another season because they basically wrap up the rest of the show in like the brief 30 seconds or so after the post credits of the final episode.
Yeah, that little epilogue.
Yeah, the little epilogue. Like they go to the Inter High, which is in Okinawa, I guess, and then you get little flashback or little scenes of like, you know, you actually see Amuro's mom. She has like a giant head for some reason. And then there's like some weird flashes of like I guess there's like some kind of love triangle going on with Amuro, Kaname, and Shizuko actually. Like, and it's like it looks like Amuro's kind of jealous that Kaname and Kaname and Shizuko have a few moments together, and then it just kind of ends with Amuro kissing Kaname. But yeah, I just thought it was.
I'm sure that's the whole manga.
I think it's something that happened in like the manga that didn't happen in the show, but I really like the way they did it. Instead of trying to rush that, in the last 10 minutes or whatever, like, okay, now she's upset and now blah, blah, blah. Like there was clearly a back and forth there, right? Like, instead they just show us a bunch of pictures. It's like, okay, they're happy, and then she sees them, and then they talk about it, and then she sees them again, and then she's upset. They talk about it again, and they kiss, right? Doing that whole thing, that back and forth, like different scenes in 10 minutes would have been terrible. But to just show us those pictures and allow us to like connect the dots like that, I think was way better.
Yeah, at least like a little bit of closure for when it knows we're not going to get it. Just so you know, it's like this what would have happened, and just know at the end that these two do end up together.
Yeah, nice little send off.
I was a fan.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say either in spoilers. What about you, DJ?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Usually we have way more for spoilers, but again, slice of life anime.
Yeah, we sprinkled a lot of it throughout the other discussion.
I liked the ending. Like I was saying before, that's how you know that Orozuka is faster, because she is the anchor of that. She swims the free in that relay. If Amuro's the stand-in, right, or whatever you want.
Yeah.
It would be the other way around if she was faster. And then Orozuka beats her and the blonde girl, and Amuro and the blonde girl tie for second.
That's true. I remember that. Yeah.
I've learned so much about swimming from this one.
Yeah,
just to say, I learned so much more about swimming from you than I ever learned about baseball from Anthony.
There we go. Get him, dude.
Oof.
Wear those goggles around their head in baseball, dude.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And then what was Jake's sport?
Did he join us for a sport?
He was on the horse. He was on the horse derby.
Yeah, he was on the horse girl one,
which is like
just a
running,
random
but
one.
they're horses.
He did teach us about the famous horse's history, though. So that was cool.
That was good. We are planning on getting him on for the popular running one that apparently has come out. I think that came out, or I don't know if it's finished, but
yeah, it came out. Yeah, running with the wind.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it should be done.
Okay.
Are we officially out of spoilers?
We'll exit spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So we're back from spoilers. We
spoiled everything.
Yeah, there was a lot to spoil. Such a long spoiler section. You'll see in the timestamps if you don't believe me. So yeah, DJ, we are now at the conclusion of our discussion. This is usually where we rate the show and give us our final thoughts. But before that, we talk about the MVP of this series. It could be the person that you consider to be the MVP of the show. So, Coby, would you like to start us off with the MVP?
Sure, I'll go with an MVP. I hate to say this in terms of just because I know this is a show about girls itself, but my MVP is Masa Ikaria, the captain.
The captain, the Chad.
Because he was so funny throughout, and he brought such a spark to this anime. And I really enjoyed all of his interactions with everybody and just his role on the team itself. So yeah, for me, he is the MVP.
All right, DJ, who is your MVP?
I'm gonna have to go with Ikamasa. Yeah, I agree with Coby. Dude's
Woohoo.
all in on swimming. He's probably got the best jokes out of everybody. He's always screaming and yelling all the time. That's what I'm all about. I like him.
And Jeff?
I'm gonna go with Takeda just to be different. That's literally the only reason.
But Takeda the MVP.
Yeah, but if I had to choose, I would also do Masa Ikaria as well. Yes, he is the heart and soul of the team, and he just seems like a real fun guy. So yeah, he's a funny guy. All right, so yeah.
Well, I always like hearing Jake do this, so I'll do this. So DJ, why don't you go ahead and explain our rating system for us?
Our rating system is, from what I heard earlier, or do you want me to explain Jake's or yours?
Ours. Let's do ours. What do you want our rating system to be?
Oh, okay. We're going to rate these animes at 1 out of 27.
Okay.
I like where it's going.
1 being free, wearing their goggles around their necks. 27 being awesomeness.
Okay,
that was
a good
terrible.
That's a good scale.
No, that's not bad.
27
1 through
being
27.
a really good 1 out of 27.
All right. What would you rank this 1 out of 27?
Me, do I do like a whole review and then rank it?
Yeah, give us your final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts on this one. Animation is lacking, stuff like that. We talked about how it kind of looks older, even though it is newer. There's maybe, let's not call it laziness, but definitely a cheapness in the quality of the animation. The story is a really slow burn, but especially for me, when it does get going, especially with the swimming, I was really into it. You can really tell that they did care about representing swimming correctly in this anime, which you definitely can't say for all swim animes. The very few that there is. So I would give it. I think I would give it a 17 out of 27.
Oh, that's above average. That's good. I guess I'll go just because. Okay, when I started watching this anime, Jeff, I texted you something. Do you remember what I texted you?
You said it was boring.
Yeah, I said it's like, oh, this sucks because it's such a boring anime. And I have to say, after 13 episodes, it really changed my mind in terms of, it's just because I was kind of watching it wrong to begin with, because I went in expecting a swim anime and I was getting the slice of life. But as the slice of life went on, with swim to the side, I came to really laugh a lot throughout these episodes and come to really enjoy this cast and everything about that. So it really took a negative expectation and thought I had when the show first started and turned it into something enjoyable. So I have to kind of give it a good rating for that. I'd probably give it 20 out of 20 out of 27 or 21 out of 27.
That's pretty good rating.
Yeah, it's pretty good rating. And it's never ever going to be, hey, I recommend this show. Hey, this is a really good sports anime. Not even like, hey, this is a good slice of life anime, but this is like there was nothing I really disliked when watching the show, and I had a good time watching it. It's one of those shows I'm glad I've seen to kind of pad my just the sports animes, and it's good to see what's out there. But I don't have anything super bad to say about it. Don't have anything super great, but just by the fact that it changed my mind from really hating it to like kind of really enjoying it at the end, I have to give it that 20 or 21 out of 27.
All right, so yeah, I would say this show, it accomplishes what it sets out to do. And what I think it sets out to do is to provide you with some laughs and to provide you with some fan service. And it does those things well. Like we've discussed before, the animation is nothing really you're not going to watch it because it looks good. And the storyline itself is very different from a sports anime. So if you're looking for a solid laugh or two and you really, really have nothing else to watch because it's a good show, but it's not something that I would highly, highly recommend, then yeah, go ahead and give this a try. Especially if you like swimming and if you appreciate swimming being represented in a good form, as illustrated by DJ. Ultimately,
who hates free? Free is bad.
Who hates free? Yes, this is. I would say this is. If free is 0, this would probably be like a 75% or so. I don't think there yet exists a swimming anime that has 100% gold standard, but I would have to give this a 19. So yeah, 19 out of 27. Watch it if you really, really like swimming and fan service, I guess. Otherwise, you can spend your time better elsewhere. But it's still pretty good.
I gotta agree. Like this one, I would recommend to someone who likes anime and someone who likes swimming. I'm definitely gonna recommend it to Anthony. If I could think of any other friends, I have got a lot of swimmer friends, so I probably do have more that are into anime and into swimming. I might recommend it with that little disclaimer in the front that to stick with it, because as Coby said, it does start out boring. I echoed that in my review as well. If this anime were a 100 freestyle short course time, it'd be like a 102.
Nice.
Sure, we know what that is.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's not bad. It's not a bad time. Pretty good one.
Well, there we go. That is the episode. That's the Anime Ricochet podcast. DJ, I hope you had a fun time. How do you think
I
it
had
did?
a great time.
Good.
It was amazing.
He got to rant about free.
Oh,
Sweet release.
it's just the little things,
DJ, would you like to give a little plug, a little advertisement for what you guys do over at Anime Dumpster Dive?
Anime Dumpster Dive is a podcast ran by our good friend Jake. It features Jake, me, and Anthony. Jake basically picks out a terrible, terrible anime and gets us to watch it. Let's not call them all terrible. He picks usually a terribly reviewed, commented, overall disliked anime and gets us to watch them. Sometimes it turns out that the hype kind of went against them. You know what I mean? And I think that's the goal of the show, is to find those animes where the people just piled on them and they really weren't that bad. And then also to pick out the ones that really deserved it. So yeah, we watch bad anime, really bad ones sometimes. So if you like suffering and you want to know about animes you may not have given the time of day if you didn't, because you didn't hear a review on them, definitely check us out. Sometimes we'll resurrect interest in an anime for people. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely link you guys in the description below. So again, thank you so much for joining us, DJ. And Coby, would you like to sign us off?
Sure. You've been listening to this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is Anime Ricochet, where we're two dudes who know nothing about sports, talk about sports anime, but we also do some other stuff on our channel like weekly anime reviews and some other cool videos. So go ahead and check us out there. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.